Hello, Little Falls. It's just Jeffrey, and welcome to this episode of Historic New Jersey. And today we are coming to you from the American Labor Museum here at the Botto House in Haledon, New Jersey.
This private home was a meeting place for 25,000 striking immigrant silk mill workers of the city of Paterson, including children who worked in the mills. In 1913, in the winter of 1913, the workers walked out protesting long work hours, child labor, hazardous working conditions, and low wages. Their main demand in 1913 was for an 8-hour workday, which was a radical idea in 1913. These workers were ordinary working people, not someone you would expect to find in a history book, not kings and queens or corporate magnates. They were new to this country, but interested in working hard and building a better life for their families. So they all joined a union called the Industrial Workers of the World. These New Jersey workers paraded to Madison Square Garden along Fifth Avenue and performed the events of their strike on June 7th, 6 months after the strike began, as a fundraiser and a publicity tool to continue their strike. It ended shortly after with workers not initially winning an 8-hour day. It took 6 more years until 1919. However, they did win some wage increases and some work rules that ensured weavers would continue to be employed in the numbers they were beforehand. The strike started over an increase in loom assignment, which would have caused unemployment among weavers, like the Botto family, like the family who lived in this house. The mayor of Haledon supported the strikers. Mayor William Brookman was elected on the Socialist Party ticket, and he allowed the workers to hold their meetings in his borough. There were no arrests here. So every Sunday from March through the end of July, this home became the meeting place for the strikers, and eventually the only place where they could meet and exchange news. It was their haven for free speech and assembly.
You were telling us about some of the amazing speakers that have spoken from this balcony.
Yes, the speakers included Upton Sinclair, the writer, the author of The Jungle, and he explained that he was nervous when he spoke here because he never spoke to such a large crowd of people. There were 3,000 here, strikers, at a small meeting and 20,000 at a large meeting. In addition to Upton Sinclair, there were organizers from the Industrial Workers of the World, Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, Big Bill Haywood, and Carlo Tresca. The workers themselves would come and give speeches here, and those who were musically inclined would carry a guitar to the balcony and lead everyone in song. It was a pep rally almost each Sunday to keep the solidarity of the strikers strong so that they can continue another week of their strike. The work week was 55 hours long, Monday through Friday, 10 hours a day, and 5 hours on Saturday. So Sunday was the day you could entertain guests, company, or you might use your parlor for a wedding or a funeral. Here in the parlor, the Bottos would sit with their company and have a pleasant conversation. If they were interested in some music or sharing music, if they felt homesick for Biella, Italy, where they emigrated from, they might pick up a mandolin or an accordion or put a record on their Victrola. And so this was a happy place to gather on a Sunday. In the cooler weather, when it was warmer, most of the time, everyone would go outside and sit under the grape arbor. This is one of our 4 period rooms on the first floor of the museum, and there were 2 bedrooms for Pietro and Maria, the parents, and this room originally was the daughter's bedroom. We have it arranged as the parents' room. There are no closets. However, there is an armoire behind us, a chest of drawers for work clothes and Sunday best. In the bedroom, also at the foot of the bed, is a quilt made out of Patterson silk. If there were damaged pieces or loose ends, the workers would ask if they could take them home to make items for their household. They could not afford to buy the silk that they made. We are set here in the Botto dining room for a Sunday meal. A bottle of homemade wine was always on the table, and there is a mason jar or canning jar with cherries. The Botto's garden produced fruit and vegetables, grapes for winemaking. Chickens and rabbits lived in the yard. We always say their garden was their safety net. They saved seeds. They always had food, even when there was a strike, even if it was a meager amount of food. This is the grape arbor in the Botto House Old World Gardens, we call it. Pietro Botto planted vines not for making jelly, but for making wine. And these are Concord grapes and another type of purple grape. The arbor itself, which has been rebuilt several times, was a place where the family would gather in the summer with their fellow workers who would come here for a simple meal on a Sunday. Maria and her daughters would sell those meals. It added to the family's income, and workers could enjoy an afternoon in the country, so to speak. Pietro would put card tables on the side lawn. You could play a game of cards. You could even play a game of bocce on the family's bocce court. The cold frames, the glass that we have covering seedlings, would allow the Bottos to plant late into the fall and begin growing early in the spring. Their garden was, I always say, their safety net. It provided for them when there was no work, when there was a strike. They always had food to eat.
Evelyn, I want to thank you so much for having us here today at this wonderful space.
It was a pleasure to have you and all the library patrons here today. It really was, and I hope that folks will have a chance to visit us in person.
So if they want to find information about the museum's hours, where would they go?
We have a website. It has a longer lettering, but I can give it to you. It's www.american-labor-museum.org. I guess that's not too long.
That's not bad.
And we are open to the public Wednesday through Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. and by appointment for groups. So we are here year-round. I hope everyone will come and visit.
And we thank you again. And Little Falls, we will see you on our next episode. And if you have a chance, come down and visit the American Labor Museum in Haledon.